I heard Snoop told the story a few times, but he had it wrong a little bit.
I don't recall Snoop being there.
I heard Sneak recounted to the story a couple of times, yet he had it. He failed to understand the situation a smidgen. I don't remember Sneak being here. And the circumstance didn't go down nothing the manner in which Sneak said it various rappers treasure recollections of Tupac and promptly share them at whatever point they can sneak around. K9 is among them, having been endorsed to similar mark close by the late rapper. One of Sneak's new anecdotes about Tupac has caused strain with Nas and I. Seems as though Sneak has trapped in his own lies. In 1996 during an entertainment ceremony. An episode happened among Nas and Sneak that nearly swelled into a firearm fight. This occurrence emerged from Nas defying nose around a story he shared concerning Tupac. Nas currently says that the rapper and the recently delegated lord of his old name has been curving current realities about tonight. And it most certainly looks dubious that you and Peace once crossed paths in Focal Park. I heard him Sneak counted to the story a couple of times, yet he had it. He had it wrong, returning us to an extreme time where East Coast West Coast hamburger was at its pinnacle. Sneak gave a strong breakdown of the entire trial. According to a fascinating perspective, he talked on what it seemed like being in the uncomfortable spot of showing support for his West Coast fam while as yet keeping cool with the East Coast home slices that were companions before things turned for the more terrible. As Sneak then, at that point, said we as a whole used to hang out. I love Big G and I love Pass, and the two of them love me anyway. We as a whole have some familiarity with the strain between two teams. In some way or another, Nas and Pass wound up in the center of it in a new meeting as tended to the well-established reports and debate encompassing his supposed meet with Tupac. He recognized Sneak do form of occasions, yet noted there were huge errors introducing an alternate point of view on the experience, and Pac had seen in Nas in the recreation area and him and Nas had words, yet Nas didn't maintain that none should get a handle on the occasions of that late evening during the vase. How about we dig further into that evening? In those days, Nas was composing high on the outcome of his collection. It was composed this collection hardened the rapper's situation as a top-tier rapper exhibiting his top-tier rapper, exhibiting his expressive ability. In the meantime, on the West Coast, Tupac was standing out as truly newsworthy with his colossal ability and awesome persona straight from the outcome of California Love. He was overwhelming diagrams in rap, as well as across the music business anyway. In the midst of Polk achievement, contentions fermented. The East Coast West Coast quarrel, energized by the media, was at its pinnacle, and Tupac ended up in the eye of the tempest. His famous diss track Hit Him Up dropped on June 4th, 1996, when after a few East Coast specialists, including Nas and his partners, this escalated. He cracked between the coasts for in numerous craftsmen to favor one side, and Tupac was the one to need to stop this. I got this new task emerging alongside a few different siblings called One Country, and it resembles an East Coast West Coast joint effort. Relatively few individuals know it, yet Pac was expecting to make a collab with Nas, who was partaking in a fruitful year with his collection. It was composed, and it seems like Sneak Homeboy meant to tell his own rendition of the story, which depicted Nas in a seriously frightful light appearance. His problem with Pop-ass Sneak referenced Tupac had seen in the recreation area, and him and Nas had words, yet Nas didn't need none. Yet Nas dead 100 individuals with weapons. It nearly appears as though Sneak need to have Nas hauled into it. This racket helped that Nas was running with Horde Profound, who had their different hamburger with Pokes the Poke Honeybees. Nas meat reached boiling point at the 1996 MTV Video Music Grants and UA. As both sides expressed, they just needed harmony and no dramatization. We are finance managers. We are not creatures dislike. We going to see them and rush them. And after the honors service, Tupac with his name company and New Jersey-based criminals group went head-to-head with Nas and his Queensbridge thugs at Bree Park, where the supposed a showdown occurred. There have been various adaptations of this story circumnavigating for some time, and Nas has never given his form as of not long ago, getting G down on every other person who is spreading lies about his strain with a late rap legend. Currently, Sneak Home Slice is enduring an onslaught for his ridiculous cases, and it appears as though Nas is going to uncover his revolting nature. Where I was coming from truly was in an all adoration place. Since it was talk of Machiavelli, so I was truly need to check the temperature with him now. It might appear to be that Sneak has been attempting to wind the set of experiences and perhaps make his own act. Count depicting different rappers in a terrible light after NASA's remarks individuals begin to see his genuine side. As one individual remarked, Sneak and Dre were yet our studio hoodlums. Once Tupac understood his entire demeanor towards the individual changed, and another client added Sneak has been Tupac's greatest skeptic for a considerable length of time. In a new meeting with Sweltering 97, Nas explained the story, adding that him and Peace had seen each other earlier, behind the stage during the media grants, and has really finished strong, illustrating what's been happening. I resembled very much heard you was coming at me. I said no, that was about you, except for I heard you was coming at me and you know to and fro, and it resembled you men, we siblings man, we well obviously Sneak was attempting to get once more into the rap game newly out of horrendous allegations of ending an existence of a man. Sneak homeboy was a piece good and gone, a fresh achievement that both Pac and Nay shared. Could it has been simply envy talking great, assuming you hear an anecdote about the episode. As a matter of fact, him and Tupac had a visit. We had an extraordinary combo, man. He made sense of he thought I was dissing him on the tune. The message he thought I was dissing him and I heard he was dissing me at clubs. Yet individual I was in any event. Contemplating when I set up that account now, it may not be the very variant that Sneak was sharing, and it raises a ton of doubts about the rapper validity and the act. Counts he's been telling about hip bounce, I was not too far off. Wow. Well, what happened was Nays ain't got a many individuals wooding yet. He got a many individuals wooding. Two rappers even came to an understanding that evening, and as N shared, they were thinking about a collab that might have changed that miserable account and mood killer. The unpleasant meet between two coasts in the wake of accommodating with N in New York on that evening, and discussing a likely cooperation later on. P traveled to Vegas to go to the Bruce Seldon v. Mike Tyson battle, and you know the remainder of the story. As Nas expressed, I was booked to meet him in Vegas. Bold and Jimmy Iovine called me at 4 Also, let me know he probably won't endure the shooting. Tupac's life reached a lamentable conclusion on September 13, 1996, only days after that critical meet. PV Grant's his unexpected death sent shockwaves to the music business, leaving an indispensable void. It was a tragic second and denoted the East Coast-West Coast quarrel's first setback. PM Las Vegas to Tupac Shakur, died. You all applause provide me with a snapshot of quietness and is significantly impacted by Tupac's disastrous passing. Grief Ved the deficiency of a craftsman as well as a companion. Regardless of the sorrow, Nas utilized his music and stage to advocate for solidarity and harmony inside the RAP people group. The goal among Nas and Tupac only a couple of days before Pac's dying filled in as a strong update that even in the midst of serious contentions, compromise, and development were conceivable. Their discussion at the EMTV Grants turned into a meaningful crossroads in hip bounce history, exhibiting the PO influence of solidarity, and simultaneously it tosses enormous shade on Sneak K9, who apparently needed to mix some show with his phony stories. I move back from you, him and Nas here blast like what's up, fuh, and it's not Nas. Different rappers likewise find irregularities in Sneak's tale about that episode. One more variant of the story comes from Bandit's part Napoleon, who remedied Sneak's little insight concerning tax team being dwarfed. He likewise admitted having gotten Sneak K9 in a major falsehood while sharing his rendition of how Nas supposedly stood up to Tupac. As she shared, I say thanks to God that Nas and Pac had the option to meet up and talk like man as opposed to being oblivious on the grounds that it would have presumably been a slaughter. Currently, Sneak K9 has been circulating a ton of filthy material in general society, and after in reality check, it seems like all his discussion loses validity according to fans and, surprisingly, his kindred rappers. I realize, Sneak said. P. Punk knows. And afterward went to sneak around. Say you perceive how I got these New York buddy. Absolutely no part of that happened, brother. It might likewise seem to be Sneak homie had his own plan, and he didn't believe two extraordinary rappers should at any point meet up and set things right. Well, after his own mishaps with regulation, Sneak homeboy was at the lower part of the rap game, and obviously he needed to sneak his direction back to the top. It's not the initial time when Sneak homeboy is known as a liar anyway. Individuals near the business greatest mysteries really mark Sneak a snake and uncover him in lying and making a helpful variant of the tales that serve him right. That is a Sneak Caneshine story that is legitimate canda for the media brother. That is something that sounds great for the media, considering this one could contemplate how the rap scene might have advanced had West Coast and East Coast meet up in a